Well, Woody got himself a job hosting a music program on a progressive radio station out in California, in Los Angeles. But as I said, he was also a budding journalist and circulating around the migrant camps. And some of these camps were the sort of cosmetic showplaces that were set up by the government under the New Deal, the Farm Security Administration. Maybe they were a bit more than cosmetic showplaces. Actually, they were great places to be. They were well provisioned. They were sanitary. They were democratically self-governing. They were great under the circumstances. But the problem was that there wasn't nearly enough of them to cope with the magnitude of the Dust Bowl migrant crisis in California. Not nearly enough. The majority of the camps that Woody visited were slums, Hoovervilles like this, packed to the gills with entire families of 8 or 10 making maybe $3 a week between them, picking cotton in the San Joaquin Valley. Back east, President Roosevelt had actually declared, "If I went to work in a factory, the first thing I'd do would be to join the union." Which sounded pretty good coming from the Oval Office. I don't think any president had gone so far to openly champion the rights of labor to organize into unions. But even with that kind of backing, the reality for the radical migrants attempting to organize into unions in the Californian fields, well, they were crushed time and time again because the bosses, the fruit crop growers, they hated unions. Well, they hated unions of working people. They just loved unions of bosses. Don't they? Bosses just love unions, don't they? I mean, what's a manufacturers association but a union? What's a chamber of commerce but a union? In the case of the farm bosses, their union was called the Associated Farmers. Association. Sounds like a union to me. And their declared aim was to stamp out all un-American activity among farm labor, because organizing a union, if you're not a boss, is un-American. It's communistic, right? Here are 3 of the Associated Farmer bosses, good union men, all 3 of them, engaged in the un-American activity of their choice, which is book burning. They're burning a copy of John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath as soon as it's published in 1939 because they don't come out so good in that book. So this is sort of an extreme version of literary criticism. When they weren't engaged in their own amateur brand of lit crit, they should leave it to the professionals. They were busy arming local thugs, goons, dignifying them with the name of deputy and maybe giving them a shiny tin badge to pin onto their leather jackets, but more important, furnishing them with knuckle dusters, baseball bats, fence posts, sawn-off shotguns, pistols, sending them out to scatter union meetings, to bust up picket lines, to burn down entire migrant camps that are suspected of harboring union organizers, assassinating union organizers outright, openly, and this is with the grateful thanks of the LAPD and this huge anti-migrant bloc. So Woody took a look at that situation and wrote about it, drawing partly on the Grapes of Wrath. How many of you have read Grapes of Wrath? That's pretty good. I mean, I asked all of you to read it for this week. My students, they always say, "Nah, I didn't read the book, but I saw the movie. Can I write about that?" How many of you saw the movie then? How many of you saw the film? Okay, about half and half. Then you would recognize this fella, Preacher Casey, Preacher J.C. John Casey. J.C., get it? J.C. And he's an ex-preacher who becomes a union organizer and who is consequently, direct consequence, he's murdered by the Vigilante thugs in the hire of the Associated Farmers. and house, sleeping just as still as a mouse. Man come along, chases us out in the rain. Was that the vigilante man? Rainy days we passed the time away, hunkered down in some good warm place. Man come along and chases us, so we give him a little raise. Was that the vigilante man? Now I've traveled round from town to town. Was that the vigilante man? Preacher Casey was just a working man. He said, unite all of you working men. So they killed him in the river. Some strange man. Was that the vigilante man? What is a vigilante man? What is a vigilante man? Does he carry a sawed-off shotgun in his hand? And would he shoot his brother and his sister down? Have you seen that vigilante man?